Along with the carrier strike group, though, is an Italian Navy Tornado class submarine called Siri. And here's some great photos of them providing ASW targeting services and training for the carrier strike group in the Ionian Sea. This is a lot of fun. This is something I've done before. And whenever I saw this shot, it really brought back a lot of memories. So let me tell you the story behind this photo right here. To the layman, they're like, hey, this submarine's obviously been caught, been photographed by the helicopter or the drone. That's overhead, maybe at a P8, who knows? But there's a lot more to this than that. The way this works is the day before the training begins, the submarine will detach from the group if it's part of the formation and get in its position to begin the exercise the following morning. And so when the exercise begins, the submarine conducts its attack. And in every single one of these I did in a 20-year career, we always sunk the heavy and a lot of the escorts and sometimes the entire fleet before we were detected. And with those units being eliminated, they only had the air assets left to come in and find us. And sometimes they couldn't even do that. In one case, we reset the exercise, went back to our starting position, and sunk the fleet again. Submarines have such an advantage over our surface counterparts, especially with today's technologies. It's not even fair. It's like an NFL football team playing a JV, a high school football team. You just run over them every time. So how did this happen? Well, eventually, after they get sunk enough, they say, hey, we're not getting any training value out of this. Would you come to the surface, raise your mast and antennas so we can get a position on you, and then you go evade as we go to prosecute you. And that way, all the submarine or all the air aviation sonarmen and everybody on board the surface ships can get some experience tracking submarines. This is really how it happens. Okay, so the submarine, I'm sure, had an absolute field day with the fleet until the admiral or whoever was in charge of the drill said enough's enough. The submarine's getting all the training and the surface guys don't know where you're at other than we're being sunk a lot, right? And so that's probably what this photo is them establishing their position. Hey, we're here. We're really shooting you, with these imaginary weapons in this training simulation. And so they snap this photo. Now from here, they'll do a full evasion and try and get away from the helicopters. And I'll tell you, it is pretty hard to get away from a squadron of helicopters. If they have more than one airborne, which they probably do, it's pretty hard to get away from them once you're detected. So I'll give the aviation community that credit. But I remember one case, and I got to be careful with a lot of these stories, but they asked us, we were prosecuting two warships. It wasn't a full carrier strike group, but we were doing training with two destroyers, and they couldn't find us. And so they finally told us to come to Periscope Depot. Oh, and they had some aviation support as well. So we raised all of our mast antennas. We're like, here we are, we're over here. They still can't find us. And so they told us, they asked us to broach the submarine. That's where you bring the submarine practically to the surface. So the whole sail, the thing that holds the mast and antennas, is sticking out of the water with the little fairwater planes and, slapping that on the surface for, I don't know, a minute or two so they can get a radar bearing on us and then prosecute us from that. So, man, my point for telling this story is that's how this picture got taken. I bet you the submarine was not detected before they raised all their mast and antennas to give themselves away intentionally. And that is how it goes more times than not. And in my case, every single freaking time, we were very successful in prosecuting the targets and had to basically show ourselves to them so that they could get some benefit from the training.